Today on the Topping Show, Mr. Beast posts his first video on X Twitter. Vivek tweets Trump will not allow a central digital currency to be created. Sean Strickland, the UFC Championship roast Journal for asking political questions. Apple overtakes Samsung to be the largest phone producer. And Ford stock is downgraded to a neutral by UBS Bank. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's a joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of January, so click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Apple beating Samsung to become the largest phone producer, which is the first time Samsung has been overtaken since 2010, which ages me quite a bit. I still remember using flip phones, but nevertheless, that is a phenomenal achievement in terms, especially when you consider how, I would say, astronomically expensive some of the iPhones are, that they were actually able to beat them by the number of units pushed. Now, this comes to us thanks to Business Insider, specifically for 2023 that they beat them. And that's even with all the challenges they had. I mean, the first week of January or 2024, their sales were down like 30% in China, which is one of the largest, most important markets for Apple. Also, where they manufacture a majority of all their products. And subsequently, the Chinese government have been putting more and more hurdles for them, so to say. They've banned government employees from using iPhone devices so that they will be most likely defaulting to Huawei devices, which is one of the largest Chinese electronic manufacturers ever. That's perhaps the biggest brand over there. And in terms of geopolitics, the U.S. government did ban U.S. government officials from using Huawei devices, partially because it's basically spyware, because yes, obviously they inject some things in there. Now, it looks like Apple's going to try to keep up that momentum, but their stock is starting to suffer. It'll be interesting to see how 2024 is. Now, Business Insider says a notable milestone is the first time any company other than Samsung has topped the list since 2010. And this is according to IDC research as well, that Apple is the, quote, biggest winner. Now, the tech giant is estimated to ship 80.5 million smartphones in the fourth quarter last year. That's the highest of any smartphone maker. And they enjoyed a market share that grew to 24.7%, while Samsung shipped an estimated 53 million smartphones during the same period and saw its market share shrink to 16.3%, both statistics according to IDC. They also know that the overall smartphone market had declined at 3.2% year over year, a decade low, which, again, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Apple is also starting to start discounts in China, which, if you're a luxury brand, that's also not a good sign if you're starting to discount it and compete with price, because, again, you'll never beat Huawei or any Chinese company when it comes to a price point. So I believe, I forgot the conversion rate, but roughly converted, they discounted it by about $70 for the Chinese market for iPhones over there. And, again, there's a little, let's see here. I mean, Apple's had their stock downgraded a couple times last year by a couple analysts. And, again, interestingly enough, Apple's sales are going down, but the iPhone segment is growing. So there are less people buying their really impressively engineered computers. Granted, they're almost as much as a car, but nevertheless, that category seems to be shrinking while the iPhone seems to be increasing for the portfolio allocation. But without so much economic uncertainty in 2024, people starting to pull back on their budgets. I wonder, will Samsung be able to overtake them this year? Plus, you also have all the uncertainty in China, which is, again, one of the largest markets for Apple. I don't know. Anecdotally speaking, I've had a couple of my friends go to the dark side, so to say, and join the Apple team when it comes to their smartphone devices. And that, incidentally enough, two of those did occur last year. So it'll be interesting to see how many of the Android folks are still left around, and maybe they'll make a comeback. Of course, as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get 4,000 subscribers by the end of January, so click that button. I really appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment and a like or even a down vote is a great way to give me some additional feedback and let me know how I can make the show better and better. Also, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.